I'm David Basulto, curator of the Nordic Countries Pavilion, and together with assistant curator James Taylor Foster, we have created In Therapy, Nordic Countries Face-to-Face. Why this title? Because Alejandro had this very challenging thing for the Biennale, in which he wanted the national pavilions to find that important question that each country needed to answer in order to advance. And the Nordic countries are an example of development for the rest of the world, and you will think that they don't have any questions to answer, but rather they have many challenges. Today, with the fall of the oil prices, the migration, the collapse of the post-industrial industries, and we wanted to bring these questions from inside the architects. So that's why it is In Therapy. So we take certain frameworks from the psychoanalyst world, and we translated them in an abstract way into architecture. So that is represented first into the pyramid, the wooden pyramid that fills the inside of the pavilion, in which we present projects from the last 7 years, how they have been instrumental to the construction of the Nordic model in the Nordic society. So we had an open call with more than 500 applications, from which we select close to 300 projects, projects that have built this Nordic model and are represented as pixels, these blocks of paper on which you can take each sheet, which is one project, and make your own catalog. But in this open call, we asked the architects one important question, which was, how has your project contributed to the current condition of the Nordic society? So that was the first question that the psychoanalyst made. So we took that question and we translate that into the pixels, and in that process we make architects more conscious about what they have built. The second question that the psychoanalyst will ask you is, tell me about your parents, how has been your relation with them? And that's when the parents and the grandparents of Nordic architecture come. Figures such as Alvar Aalto or Sverre Fehn, present in this pavilion, carry a very heavy weight on the shoulders of architects until today. And those ghosts are present in the room with no walls, these spaces that resemble a psychoanalyst office with chest lungs and old rugs, in the form of videos where the commissioners, the directors of the architecture museums from the 3 countries, Finlandia, Norway and Sweden, talk about these figures. They have very vast archives, so they bring to light all these ghosts that are very present until today. But the other ghost is the pavilion itself, the pavilion that has these 3 grandiose trees that represent the Nordic culture. You can see them in between the pyramid. They are here, but they are not here, just as a ghost.
What are the different colors?
The different colors represent the advance that we wanted to present through the Maslow hierarchy of needs, a pyramid that shows a progression as a person, as individuals, that goes from the most basic needs into the self-actualization, to reach your fullest potential. We translate that in a very abstract way to architecture, and we define the 3 steps. Red, which is foundational; green, that it is belonging; and the blue one, that is recognition. Foundational is the most basic architecture. It is hospitals, schools, social housing, programs that are really a base for the society. But then we have belonging, the kind of projects where the people become citizens, establish relations among themselves, public spaces, urban programs, cultural programs where people get together, libraries, for example. But then on almost reaching to the top, we have the recognition, programs that are very specific to the Nordic countries, such as the tourist roads that you see in Norway, the saunas in Finland that are very related to their culture, or these fantastic hotels in the middle of the nature. So they show a progression from the most basic into the most specific, but the pyramid is truncated because the pinnacle to reach your fullest potential is what we think that should come from these questions. Questions that now the Nordic architects are going to come here. They're going to be conscious about their present. They're going to bring their past through their unconscious, and hopefully in this new situation they can find these questions and hopefully go back to their country and do the architects through architecture.
Thank you.